Welcome to Lab 3. Let's throw in a second ball. So what do you do if you want to get rid of the first ball after it bounces off the screen so you have a blank stage to add a new ball? You put in what's called a blank keyframe. It's just a keyframe with nothing on it. As soon as you put something on a keyframe, it becomes a regular keyframe. I'm going to add a blank free keyframe on frame 25. So how do I do that? I click here and frame 25. Now I can right click and do blank keyframe, or I can go insert timeline and click blank keyframe. So I'm going to add another ball right here. So what I do is I go over here to the library. See, I've got a tab that says library here. And I'm going to drag the exact same ball. Well, it's going to be another instance of a ball just like it. And I'm going to pull it right up off the stage up here. You would need to pull it up a little more. Yeah, probably. And it's going to come in right at this place here. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to squash the ball again. We're going to make it short and fat. So I come over here in the free transform tool. I guess I gotta click on this frame, don't I? You select it. There we go. Here we go. Now I can make it short and fat. I'm going to reduce this down so you can see it better. So, oops. There we go. Now we can see the whole stage. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a motion tween. So I've got this selected already. Go insert, motion tween. Of course I go right click and do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this out to 31. I get my double-headed arrow, come up to 31. So now for frame 31 I want to drag it off on the right hand corner of the stage. So now I'm going to put a key frame in the middle at 28. So I click here at 28. Now we're going to turn the ball so it looks more like it's bouncing as it moves along the motion path. So in the timeline I'm going to click frame 25. In the tool panels I'm going to click the free transform tool. And I'm going to point this, see that circle that the arrow makes? I'm just going to spin it until it's going in the direction of this line. Now I'm going to do the same thing at frame 27. So I'm going to click 27. And I'm just going to spin it with my free transform tool. Now we're going to skip 27. We're going to go directly to 28. We don't want to change what it looks like on the ground. So I'm going to spin this one in the direction of that. And we hit 30. And we'll do the same thing with the tail. I'm sorry, that was 31. So now I'm going to test the movie, see what it looks like. Control Enter. Control Enter. Now we're going to play with filters. I think you're going to like this. Filters give you great visual effects. And it gives you blurs, shadows, bevels, and glows. This is a drop shadow. See that right there? It makes the object look like it's casting a shadow onto another surface. A bevel? This is a filter highlights an object to make it look like it's curved above its background. So you got the curved effect here. A blur? A blur softens the edges and the detail of an object to make it look blurry. It can make an object look like it's further away than another object, or it can make an object look like it's moving fast. In the glow, kind of had the sun effect. It just filters the area around the edges of an object with a color to make it look like it's glowing. These are fun things to play with. I think you're going to like these. Two ways you can blur an object is blur X and a blur Y. The blur X is a horizontal blur. It's blurs from side to side. Blur Y is a top and bottom blur. It goes up and down. So let's add a filter to make my ball look blurred like as it comes onto the stage. So let's select frame 25. And I clicked on it and I finally got the movie clip thing here. That's what you need to do in order to find your filters. So I'm going to come on down, and there's my filters right here, all the way in the bottom. So filters are all the way down here, so I turn them on. I'm going to click add a filter right here, just like you would add a new layer, add a filter. And I'm going to click blur. So next to blur X, I'm going to point to the number, and when the mouse pointer turns to a double-headed arrow, I'm going to click and drag it to the right till it sits at 30 pixels. So we turn the blur on frame 25. We're going to come here to frame 28. I'm going to click in it. Now I click the ball. So now this instance comes up, and I come down again, and I change the blur to 0. Just click enter. So now I want to test my movement, so I'm going to go Control Enter. So it's blurry when it first comes in, but not when it leaves. So now we're in the last lab. We're going to add sound. So we're going to add a sound file. This is what a sound file looks like. See a bunch of lines going up and down? These sound files add sound to your animation. The parts of the line that go up and down are actually when the sound is actually heard. We're going to add it to our ball to make it sound like it bounces. So now I'm going to add a new layer. And I'm going to call this sound. Now I'm going to click frame 13. This is the frame where the ball first hits the ground. I'm going to add a keyframe here, so I'm going to go F6. Okay, we're also going to use a feature called stream sound. Stream sound is just a synced up sound. So when the motion plays, when the animation plays, the sound plays, and when it stops, when the animation stops. So we'll use stream sound to start at a specific place in our animation. So let's look at a sound library. I can click down Window, and I can go to Common Libraries, and I'll look at sounds. So now the timeline in the sound layer, I make sure I'm in frame 13, which I am. I'm going to click and drag the sports basketball bounce. They have single bounce 1. I just have bounce. Okay, I'm just going to drag it onto the library anywhere on the stage. Now you don't see the sound on the stage, but you see it on the timeline and the sound layer, where purple line shows up. So now I click this, and I want to see in the properties layer right here, I want to see sound, and so I click the sync drop down list and I click stream. Okay, I want to align the sound so it happens exactly when the ball hits. So I'm going to drag my sound off over 1. So now let me run this and see what it sounds like. Now we're going to play what they call event sound. Event sound is different from the timeline. It doesn't automatically end when the animation stops. It keeps on playing until the sound file is done or until you tell it to stop. Okay, we're going to use it to keep a sound playing no matter what's going on in the animation, like music. It keeps on playing in a website or maybe like the background of a game. Or you can set it up to start playing when a specific event happens, like a mouse click. So we're going to add a event sound to our second ball. So in the time layer on the second on the sound layer, I'm going to click frame 28. It's right about here. I'm going to do function 6 to F6 to add a keyframe. So now I'm going to go get the sounds library again. So I go to Window, Common Library, Sounds. And I'm going to go find a Sports Racquetball Bounce 1. There it is, Sports Bet. And I'm going to put it in the timeline on frame 28. So I'm going to close out the library, click that X. In the timeline, the sound layer, I'm going to click frame 28. In the Properties panel under Sound, I'm going to click the Sync drop-down list. And then I'm going to click Event. So now I'm going to align that sound, so I'm just going to drag it to the previous frame. So right when it hits, it's going to make the sound. Now I'm going to loop the sound. I'm going to do this whenever I want a sound to repeat over and over again in my movie. So in the timeline, the sound layer, I'm going to click on frame 27. In the Properties panel under Sound, I'm going to click the Repeat drop-down list, and I'm going to click Loop. Now I'm going to do Control-Enter to test my movie. Now the second ball sound will repeat over and over again, so let's try it out. Now the thing that's wrong is you only want the sound to play when the ball bounces. So in the Properties panel, under Sound, I click Loop and I click Repeat. So I can click Repeat. So now I'll do my Control-Enter. That's what I wanted. Okay, another thing that you need to know before we publish our movie now is that sound quality. The bigger the number is, the more kilobytes per second you have, the better the sound quality is. So you can change the bit rate in your publish settings if you want to make it better or worse. So now we're going to publish our movie. Go File, Publish Settings. So you want to make sure that you have Flash and HTML set. Now we're going to click on the Flash setting, and where it says audio stream, I'm just going to click Set. Here in my pop-up box, I'm going to change that from 16 kilobytes per second to 32. Want a little bit better quality. Click OK. Click the HTML tag, and I'm going to click the Flash Alignment horizontal drop-down box, and I click Left. And I'm going to click Top. I click Publish, and I'm going to click OK. So I click Publish, then I click OK. Okay, a lot of you have been sending me your FLA files instead of including your SWF files. If you want to send me your FLA file, you've got to send me one I can read. So if I go save as, now here it says CS5. That's what I have. Now if I wanted to save it as a CS4 document, I click like that, and I could send that to Miss Hadley, or I could send a CS5 document to Miss Hadley, but I sure as heck can't send her a CS 5.5 or a CS5 or a CS6. Why? Because I have an earlier version, it won't open up. That's why you got your zeros, some of you. Okay? So make sure, if you're going to send me that FLA, you send me a lower version, 4 or 5, okay? See, I can save it as a CS4. Click Save. So, you just click Yes, and then that's what you would send Miss Hadley, along with your SWF file, okay? Since I've published my file, I see my ball FLA, I see my ball HTML, and I see my ball SWF. I send those 3 files to Miss Hadley. You can zip them. Once again, right click 7-zip, add to ball zip. So then I get a folder, this is ball zip, so I can drag in HTML. I can drag in my SWF. Make sure you have the SWF file in there, okay? You're done with Unit 3.